Hi, my name is Aidan Crowley, and I'm 13 years old and I have autism. I have an interview with one of my friends who asked 5 questions about my autism, and these are the 5 questions.
Do you think people with autism could benefit from more understanding with dealing with others? And how would this look?
Well, I think it would look like they would connect more if they were more in their space, like connected together with some other pretty people. Sometimes that isn't the case because they don't like being touched, because whenever they're touched, their nervous system jerks them away from the person who is touching them, and it's too sensitive. So that's why how I look it, and sometimes I don't look like that all the time. So I feel like dealing with others with that is kind of hard and challenging. So it's very challenging, and I feel like I should benefit some of my therapy to uh, to be with others.
So, do you feel like your senses are kind of hyper?
Well, I think they're hyper a little bit because I usually get excited over TV and stuff, so it's pretty challenging to stop me from doing that sometimes. So it's a pretty challenging thing. So
Is it?
yeah.
Okay. So, how would it look then if people had more understanding of your challenges? How would they be different with you?
Well, I think that it would be different because that way everyone will know about my condition, and that way won't tease me or bully me. Because in my elementary school, in somewhere in Livermore, out here somewhere, I uh, I was teased a lot because fire drills scared me, and fire drills always scared me because of the loud noise. And you know what happens? The noise always hurts my ears, like it hurts my eardrums. And some people were teasing me about that, and I didn't like that. And now, most of my condition is recognized in my new school, and that's why I'm mostly friends with all these other people who have autism and some other type of uh, disorder.
Well, that leads to the next question. Do you think people with autism could benefit from extra help in school? And how would you suggest that people help them?
I think that will be helpful in the school because teachers will actually tell about their difficulties and challenges in life before that, before they came to the school, and that's why I feel like it's more full to say that I had a difficult challenge of dealing with these fire drill buddies, which I hated because the fire drills scare me, of course, says the second question. And I think it's pretty hard and challenging sometimes to discuss your feelings because your feelings sometimes don't want to tell the other person. Like your feelings like makes you emotional, and I feel like being emotional too. It's pretty bad, and I didn't like it. So that's why I feel like helping others might be a helpful thing, and
So,
that's
like,
fine.
if the teachers understood the things that bothered you, if you were able to tell the teacher, I have a hard time with loud noise, or I have a hard time when things are not calm, then things like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's like if you're not calm in school, the teacher of my school right now, if I'm not calm, they help me by calming me down sometimes, and sometimes they don't know the symptom, but sometimes they do. It's like 50-50 chance of winning lottery, for example, and the lottery is just like your teachers helping you. And that's what you are in life, that the teachers will hopefully help you. And
Okay.
that's why I think it's pretty helpful in school.
So, if they were just sensitive or more aware of the things that are hard for you, that would be how they could help you.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
great.
what I agree on.
All right, next question. How do you think people who don't understand autism might view the behavior of someone with autism when they're feeling challenged? Like, if you're having a hard time with a fire drill and your behavior looks different than some other student, how do you think they would be able to help you? What do you think they would be thinking of your behavior?
Well, the teachers, of course, will help other people be calm by telling them that there's no fire drill. For example, for me, I asked the teacher there was going to be a fire drill after they said they were going to have a fire drill, and she says no, we're not. And I asked the teacher, well, why did 3 of those boys over there told me that there's a fire drill happening today? And they teased me all day, and I told the teacher about it, and I had to struggle with that. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
So what do you think those boys were thinking when they saw your behavior?
Those boys, when they saw my behavior, was just, they didn't understand it that much. They probably had like teasing faces, like stuff like that. It was pretty hard on me, and in my first school it was pretty hard.
Yeah. And so you think that the way that they viewed your behavior was that it was something to make fun of?
Yeah, that's what they thought in school, and it's pretty hard.
Yeah. It's hard when people don't understand you. Okay, so here's the next question. What are some of the advantages of autism, and how do they make you stronger?
Well, some of the advantages of autism are you could calculate different kinds of calculations in your brain. And like, for example, 19 times 379. People with autism can figure it in a second, or a calculator a second, because they could think of it in their head and even call it out, or write it down on a piece of paper if they hear that equation. And it's pretty advantaging, and sometimes they even connect pictures, like what makes this sunset so unique is what their brain is telling them, and the picture is helping them express that question.
So people with autism have, not all people, but some people with autism can do some amazing calculations. Some people with autism think in pictures, is that right?
Yeah, sometimes they don't know how to do those things. And one example is Temple Grandin, when she didn't like algebra back in her high school, and that's pretty much how she started getting in with cattle, and that's why she had advantages of thinking in pictures, and that's why she thinks in pictures of building cattle designs.
Do you think that autism has some advantages for you, Aidan?
Yes, I think so, because I can actually think of something like, say, for Thanksgiving, for example. I think of a turkey, and I feel like, oh, there's a turkey, and there's cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie, chocolate pie, anything that could be at Thanksgiving time. And I think of it in my brain, and I see it all together, what it will look like before it happens, even a month.
Mm-hmm. And how are you with dates and figures and information and history?
Well, there's always some kind of flashes in here that you could actually remember. Like, say, for example, the Titanic sunk on April 15th, 1912, and 1,615 people died on it, for example. That's an autistic brain at work.
So you're able to remember dates and figures really easily?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are some of the challenges that people with autism face?
Some challenges with autism people face is pretty much challenging, and it's like they're trying to struggle against their past, and sometimes they don't do that. They just take risks, and they make mistakes and all that stuff, and people don't like it. Like, back to Temple Grandin, for example, she got an F after she was doing her project of her squeeze machine, and what happened was it was not that good, and the headmaster just gave her an F for just nothing, and she went to the principal's office and tried to tell them about her device, and that's some of the challenges she faced during her high school years.
Okay, so the challenges are that they've got some things going on with their senses, because wasn't her squeeze machine something she used to help her get calm?
Well, yeah, mostly. Yeah. Because she is like getting hugged inside, like she is squeezed together, so that way she feels calm. And that's why she feels calm even when loud noises and many people upset her. If they're being bullied to her, and she uses her squeeze machine to get calm again, and that way she won't burst out into rage or try to punch the kid who's bullying her or anything like that.
So do you think that most of the challenges that people with autism face are about their senses, their sensory things, loud noises, touch,
their perspective,
smells,
balance, all that?
Yeah,
so those are connected with autism sometimes. because autism mostly has the perspectives all in the brain because they can figure out pictures like there's a berry over here and there's a plum over here, for example, and they connect it together just to see how big they are, and they see that the plum is bigger than the berry itself.
Okay. And then the last thing is, what are some things that you would suggest people could do to help someone with autism?
Well, some people have to deal with autism. They usually calm them. For me, it's like a brush. And my mom used to brush me in Switzerland because I brush my wrist right here, and I feel softness on there, and I feel calm and not nervous or anxious or crazy.
Okay, so some things that people could do would be to be sensitive to the sensory information that's coming into people with autism. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So if they could help them to find less sensory stimulation, like if it's loud noise or if they could calm down the environment, that would be helpful.
Yes.
All right, let me ask you one last question. Would this work for someone without autism too, do you think?
Maybe because dyspraxic or other symptoms, for example ASD or autism spectrum disorder, it's a type of autism, but it's not entirely autistic in a way. And these people with autistic properties, sometimes they don't have that. Sometimes they have ASD properties and dyspraxic properties too. And sometimes they need to calm themselves down because they can't spell, they can't read. Sometimes they even don't know their control, and it's sometimes hard to look at as a parent. And I think parents need to know more about these symptoms in the future, and that's why I think that we need to learn more about this.
Okay. Well, thanks, Aidan, for talking to us today.
You're welcome.